Um, so today's vlog is gonna be kind of short and probably boring for most people. It's just gonna be, I guess I did say literally just now. It's just gonna be like a walkthrough of like everything I did today. That's pretty much all that's gonna be happening. I'm sorry if my train of thought gets derailed kind of easily. It's late for me. It's past my bedtime. Actually, it's almost my bedtime, and which means that my kittens are running around the house and playing. So if you hear random thumping against the walls, it's just them crashing into it. So I'll just get started. So 5:45, I wake up. I normally wake up at that time on weekdays, and just get ready for work. Then around 6:20-ish is when I start freaking out that I'm not actually out the door yet. It's typically an everyday thing for me. I freak out that I'm not ready, I'm not dressed yet, and I'm not out the door, and so I end up like rushing to get out. I usually make it out in like 5 minutes. Then I get to work around 6:45-ish. Yeah. 7 o'clock is when I actually like usually start working. And so today, I just was working on a wax up for a custom abutment implant. So I just started the wax up for it at 7, and then around 7:30 I got interrupted. There was an assistant who was looking for a case that I guess the doctor wanted it done that day. He wanted an Essex retainer with a denture tooth in the Essex. But it had come in on Monday, just this last Monday, and normally anything that goes through the stone room, you're supposed to give it 5 days, unless you mark it on the paperwork that you need it sooner. Well, obviously he didn't mark it sooner, that he needed it sooner, and so it just kind of sat back there. So I had to find this case for him, and of course he had no clue. He had no clue what he was like looking for. Like he didn't know when it had come in, you know, like where to look for it, anything like that. So I had to basically go through the 20 questions with him to find out where this case could possibly be. So that, yeah, there's a lot of interruptions through the day. So it's anytime that I like actually sit down at my desk and can like work for more than like an hour is a miracle. So I continued working on my wax up, and then around 8:35 I went for my coffee run because it had been a couple days since I had had caffeine, and I was starting to get shaky. Because I am an addict, I guess. Yeah, I need my daily coffee, otherwise I get migraines and I get shaky, and it's generally just a bad time for me. So I did that. Actually, this morning I got my first gingerbread latte of the year. So yeah, because I don't really like PSLs. Yep, I called it a PSL. Yeah, I don't really go for that anymore. It's just kind of eh. But I do love gingerbread, so I got that. Anyway, so yeah, around 9:30 this morning, when I was working on my wax up, I realized that I had messed up. I messed up my wax up from this morning, and I had to start all over again. What happened was, so on we have our stone casts of teeth, right? Of just the mouth. And then for an implant, we usually have this soft tissue material, which is this squishy material that goes around where the implant hole is in the mouth, on the stone cast. And it acts as the gums around the hole for where the implant is supposed to be. So when I'm waxing up a tooth, it kind of acts as where your gums are gonna be around the implant, where it's gonna be holding. But I guess some of that material was still overlapping on top of where the space between the abutment, which is the part that I'm actually waxing on, and the analog, which is the part that's in the stone itself, because those have to be like together and screwed in together. There can't be any gap. So I guess that there was material, the soft tissue material was in between that, and I didn't realize it until I had already gotten like halfway through with my wax up. So that was annoying. So I had to start all over again around 9:30, and then about 10:40 I finished waxing it up, and I started doing my cutback, which basically what that means is once I wax the tooth to the shape that I want it to be in the final stages, then since it's a custom abutment, which means that I'm gonna be making a metal structure underneath, and then I'm adding a crown on top of that metal structure. I'm basically making a prep tooth for the crown, but it's an implant instead of a normal tooth that's being cut into a square-like shape normally. Instead, it's metal that's drilled into the patient's bone. So I started doing my cutback to create that shape around 10:40, and then 11 o'clock is my lunchtime, and then I had a quick 20-minute lunch, and then I went back to working, and around 12:30 I realized that I messed up again. It's the first time I've done this, and I was so mad when it happened. I was so pissed because I had messed up the metal. I had ended up, okay, how do I explain this? So when you put the two pieces together, the piece that's in the stone and the piece that you're waxing on, when it's together and flush, they go together, and they can't twist. Anyway, so it's a hexagonal shape, so it doesn't like twist, and so when it screws down, it doesn't rotate. It just fits the way that it needs to fit. But I guess when I started to screw it down, I ended up having it so that it wasn't on straight, and when I was screwing it in, I ended up messing up the metal, and it dented up the metal in a way that it wouldn't fit back together. there was always going to be a gap. Which means I had to start all over again. So after I had to start all over again for the third time, I finally finished my cutback at around 2:30 in the afternoon, just in time to go to the awards ceremony at 3. So yeah, I finished it just in time to go to the awards ceremony at 3, which is a whole nother thing that annoyed me, because it's a 3-day weekend, and instead of being able to go and do my PT and start my 3-day weekend an hour earlier, I had to sit with a bunch of people who didn't want to be there. They would have all rather probably been starting their 3-day weekend. But luckily it didn't last as long as I thought it would. We went home at about 3:30. I came home, I checked my mail. I found out that through the Disney Movie Club, I'm getting Civil War next month. And if you haven't heard of Disney Movie Club, it's awesome and you should check it out. They give you some pretty good deals on like all Disney movies and Disney owned shows and stuff like that. It's pretty good. So yeah, I did that, and then about 4 o'clock, I fed all my animals, took care of everyone, and I'm realizing that Smaug is starting to go into hibernation again, because he's not eating a whole lot, and it's not that he's not, I don't think he's sick or anything. Like, he opens his eyes, he's looking around at me, it's just he's generally pretty lazy, and he looks like he's like trying to sleep during the day. He's drinking water and everything, so he's not sick. I think he's just going into hibernation again. So I'll have to set up a little sleeping box for him in there. I'll probably do that at some point in the next week or so. Yeah, and then around 4:15ish, I guess, I was supposed to go for a run, but it was like 90 degrees outside, so I said no. I was just like, I'm just gonna run tomorrow morning, because no, I don't like the heat. I don't run in the heat. So instead of running, I decided to take a nap and watch YouTube. So I did that for a bit, and then I woke up around 5:45 and got ready to go. I went out to see a movie tonight. It was supposed to be, it was a free movie in the park. This one was in downtown, but 2 weeks ago they showed Star Wars: A Force Awakens, and tonight they were supposed to show excuse me. Sorry. And tonight they were supposed to show A New Hope, and so I was super excited for that. And then we we get there, and when I say we, I mean I got there, and Rob and Kendall, they went as well, because they like Star Wars too. when we got there and they started making the announcements, they were like, which Star Wars are we showing tonight? And it's like, The Force Awakens. And I was like, you serious? Like, we just watched this 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I watched The Force Awakens again. Whatever. It was a free movie. And now I'm here. So that was my day. And now I'll probably edit this, and that'll probably take me like an hour, and upload it and everything. And then I am going to pass out because I'm tired and I'm an old crotchety woman and I don't like staying up past like 10. So yeah. Alright, I'm gonna go now. I'll have another Halloween video up tomorrow. Yeah, I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed after this. So, good night. Bye.